Hey!
You tear down the house, then you put up the rent. You pocket the cash, and you crush all dissent.
Welcome to the Red Diaper Pail, episode 25. We are recording on Sunday, February 22nd. This is a podcast about art, culture, history, politics, technology, and parenting from a left perspective, and my name is Simone.
And my name is John Paul, and I'm very sorry for overpromising
And under-delivering. We're on day 15 or 16 of February vacation.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell. And there's more days coming because of weather events.
Send help. Send a rescue team. You might have to burrow through the snow to find us. So we get on vacation week when the kids were home. We were not able to get our artifact episode out. So you're going to get the promised episode about AI at the end of this week. Fair enough?
So like and share and like the content.
Mm-hmm. Subscribe to the Substack. There's all kinds of goodies on the Substack.
Our middleist child has informed us that we are not allowed to say shit unless we're doing the podcast. So when we're doing the podcast, we can say shit. But remember, not when we're not doing the podcast.
That's good advice. I keep forgetting. But
this morning, he was like, remember, are you doing the podcast right now? And I'm like, no. And he's like, Daddy just said shit. I'm like, okay. So we'll get our swears in with this set of horrible headlines. So we've got a hot one, a breaking one. Mexico's most wanted drug leader has been killed in a military operations as clashes erupt across the country and U.S. tourists are told to shelter in place. El Mencho, the powerful and long-pursued head of the Jalisco New Generation cartel, and one of the world's most wanted traffickers, has died following a Mexican military operation, but apparently in collaboration, or at least with intelligence from U.S. military.
That's right.
And then shit hit the fan.
Yes.
With people like trying to kill cops in the streets, and if you're a tourist or a white American national, you need to stay in your shelter.
I think you're supposed to stay in place at a shelter. Stay
in place, sheltered.
If it's the new generation, does that mean they're all Zoomers?
They're all 6-year-olds.
Oh God, they're all Gen Alpha. Oh God, that they be an alpha male to a whole new level. Reuters is reporting that there's like a special new unit for anti-drug intelligence in the U.S., which handed over this information with the expectations that it was acted upon. And it's pretty clear from the reporting that this was an attempt to like appease a lot of U.S. pressure about fighting cartels. We talked...
Scheinbaum has applauded the acts of the agencies and their success in this excellent takedown of a violent drug cartel leader.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people risked their lives. There's 3 of I guess it was the Mexican army that did this. And there's 3 of them are in...
They were injured and are in the hospital, yeah.
Yeah. We talked before about these threats about sort of torpedoing Scheinbaum's government with a bunch of tariffs and shit a couple of times. This is the background threat, which is forcing her to do what her predecessor would not do. What he did was he said, I have more important things to worry about than this. So it's going to be a let live situation because I don't have the political capital to spend on this, and I don't want to destabilize the country. I mean, this is tricky because whoever's listening to this will know more about the situation than we do at this point, and this could be very short-lived. But it feels like this is the United States is sort of forcing the government to destabilize the country to pursue Washington's interests over the interests of the Mexican people. I'm not sure that these cartels running around free is in the interest of the Mexican people, but I'm also not sure that like going to war with them is what everyone needs right now. But it's certainly what Trump wants. So
I mean, doing it in the midst of spring break is an interesting choice. The Puerto Vallarta, which is one of the areas that's like locked down right now, is a major resort town, and there's stories of people like running through the tarmac, being escorted around by military personnel.
Yeah. I mean, if you're any of these cartel people, you have to really make as many people pay as you possibly can. And that includes tourists. Like, you need Washington, you need
probably
Washington
especially
to
tourists.
realize, and in the future, is this worth it?
Right.
One other thing I would add is that one of the major weaknesses of the Biden presidency was this sense that the world was falling apart and that they couldn't do anything to stop it. Like, there was all these wars and conflicts popping up all over the place, and people don't want to turn on the news and see people shooting each other all the time, even if it wasn't directly related to like his policies. And this feels of that nature, except for it's directly related to U.S. policy.
Okay, on to everyone's favorite former governor of Arkansas, Bill Clinton. No, Mike Huckabee caused a ruckus this weekend.
He did.
He was on Tucker Carlson's show, and he claimed that Israel has a right to much of the Middle East. And unfortunately, he's also the ambassador to Israel. So he's not just
a private citizen saying this.
Yes.
The official envoy to the area.
Arab and Muslim nations have sharply condemned comments by the U.S. ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, who said Israel has right to much of the Middle East. He made these comments in an interview with Tucker Carlson that aired on Friday. Carlson said that according to the Bible, the descendants of Abraham would receive the land that today would include essentially the entire Middle East, and asked Huckabee if Israel had a right to that land. I mean, that's a gotcha question.
I mean, there's a lot of gotcha questions, I have to say.
He said the Bible says they should have the entire Middle East. What do you say, Mike? And Mike's he's gonna have to say, I mean, yeah. So Mike of course said it would be fine if they took it all, because that's
what a fucking idiot.
That's the diplomatic way to handle that question.
Mike Huckabee drives me crazy because he has this like soft religious like air that he puts on, which like hides that what like it just being as sort of bloodthirsty as everyone else. I do think Tucker beat up on him by planning a bunch of gotcha questions. Like, he literally sat down and said, "How many gotcha questions can I fit in this list of questions?"
I mean, if you're Tucker Carlson, you're like, I'm so much smarter than this guy. Why not? He did add after it would be fine if they took it all, which of course is the worst possible answer to that question. He did say, well, it's not like they're looking to expand their territory right now.
Yeah. Bullshit.
Really?
Yeah. Bullshit.
The UN just came out with a report that they're calling it ethnic cleansing not only in Gaza, but in the West Bank because of the annexation of land.
Yes.
But they're not looking to really expand their territory right now.
Recently expanded into Syria, and they still have land in Lebanon. I think Trump said he installed the president of Syria. He's doing a really good job. And everyone's like, there's supposed to be a conspiracy theory that the United States took down the Assad regime and installed a successor. And this guy's going around being like, yeah, I handpicked him. And he's doing a great job.
Oh, my God. Saudi Arabia called these comments extremist rhetoric and completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
And they're our friends.
Derek Davidson was like, why you make me feel bad for the Saudi royal family?
Statements of this nature, extremist and lacking any sound basis, serve only to inflame sentiments and stir religious and national emotions, says the League of Arab States. Of course, this is all happening in the midst of a peace negotiation, a negotiation between Iran and the United States. Of course, Trump is involved, so it probably is a peace negotiation because he is a peace president.
Yes,
this is not the time to be stirring the shit up. There's also negotiations happening because the Board of Peace met this week.
Yeah.
And did whatever it was that they did. I mean, they stood on stage. There was music. He wore a purple tie. He pledged more money than he's allowed to pledge.
Mm-hmm. His own money, right?
The United States' money, which I think he thinks is the same.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have to wonder was Mike Huckabee, is he an idiot or was he told to say it?
He's an idiot.
If you have an opportunity, say something aggressive about Israeli land control. No?
He wants to be the most biblically governed public figure. Tucker knew that would entrap him because he's not going to disagree with the Bible, regardless of what it says. And he thought, I guess he didn't realize that part of his job is making sure there's not a diplomatic meltdown. Tucker also asked him about potential invasion of Iran, which some people are reporting as imminent, and most of the media isn't covering at all.
Well, they're covering that there's this ongoing negotiations. But the deal that the U.S. is seeking is basically a surrender deal. So it's not going to result in anything but a conflict.
Jeez. Tucker's like, didn't matter what public opinion is, what the public thinks about anything.
And Huckabee said no.
He said, well, of course it does. That's why we vote and stuff. And he said, so if it matters, then explain to me why we're doing this in Iran if 80% of people are against it.
He said, well, we don't set policy based on public opinion.
Yeah. Wait, so in what way does it matter? Which is another gotcha question because it was asked in the abstract, but it's
not that good of a point.
No, it's not that good of a point. And Tucker Carlson would support a lot of things that are not popular. He would support the government doing.
He does not like war, though.
But he does, and there's a schism on the right, which is related to the schism over whether Jews get to count or not.
Is it related to that?
Yeah, which is about Israel.
Oh.
And how much the United States should be helping Israel or kowtowing to Israel, or however you want to formulate it, using Israel as a proxy. And that is, a lot of that has to do with like how much should the United States be overextending itself in these places and how much it should be retreating to the Western Hemisphere. And this is not, I mean, we're talking about how this Venezuela thing makes perfect sense from the security documents, but being this bellicose with Iran,
I don't understand that one at all.
It's a very different situation. It has everything to do with like improving the U.S. position against China, with Iran being the major Chinese proxy in the Middle East. And I guess they expect to be strong enough to force a regime change in Iran. And I think what they're basically saying is like, you don't want a war, we don't want a war, but we're going to win that war. So you may as well just have regime change the peaceful way, which they're not going to do.
They're not going to do. And it's not going to be it's not going to be an in and out war either, even if ultimately the U.S. wins.
No, it's going to be a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, it's a boots on the ground war.
I usually get the impression that most of the time it's just bluffing, and that's why the media is not taking that seriously, because if they bluff hard enough by parking enough aircraft carriers off the coast, that Iran will just fold with no actual intention of doing any invasion, and he'll be a taco again.
It seems the administration they're basically saying that they're imminently going to begin nuclear weapon building, which I wonder if that's even true. I think it's like fear mongering that like if the negotiations fail, we're going to end up with a nuclear power. And then there was like a hot mic moment where Trump said something about dropping missiles. And then also this morning he came out and said publicly and out loud wondered why they haven't capitulated to their terms yet. And they are basically the terms that the United States are demanding are not likely to be met. So I do think this is going to end up being at least airstrikes. Steve Witkoff, who is a American real estate developer.
We talked about him last time.
Yeah, he's on the board of peace. He has been like the mouthpiece of Trump during this Iran stuff. He's also in those negotiations. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can always bring your real estate developer alongside when you're doing any dealings. He said that this deal in Gaza will usher in the renaissance for Gaza. But he's also like he's basically all over the media right now because he's the one that leaked or told the media that he was talking about why hasn't Iran capitulated yet. So he's like, I don't know, second to Trump in the Middle East land negotiations that he finds himself in.
The president asked me that this morning, and I don't want to use the word frustrated. It's almost because he understands he's got plenty of alternatives. But it's curious. He's curious as to why they haven't, I don't want to use the word capitulated, but why they haven't capitulated. Why under this sort of pressure with the amount of sea power, naval power that we have over there, why they haven't come to us and said, we profess that we don't want a weapon, so here's what we're prepared to do, and yet it's hard to sort of get them to that place.
Yeah, I mean, he's the envoy to the entire region, right? So
he's United States Special Envoy to the Middle East, but he's not a trained. He's not. I mean, I guess this is silly to say, but there are people who do this for a living.
Professional diplomats, people with experience, people with
and he is a real estate developer and an investor, and somehow found himself to be the special envoy to the Middle East.
What I don't understand about this, why would you take this job? If you're sitting on a pile of money, why the stress of this?
He wants Gaza.
Oh, because he wants to develop it?
Yes.
But the whole Middle East? He's negotiating with Iran? I mean,
I think Trump really likes him because he's not only the special envoy to the Middle East, he's the special envoy for peace missions, and he's been the de facto envoy to Putin.
Oh my God.
So I think this guy must make Trump feel real good, and they're bestie bests. And when Trump has to travel long distances, he brings little Stevie along.
I see. Well, Stevie's got a lot of responsibility. The world, I mean, the world that our kids grow up in is going to be dependent upon the decisions they make about this.
Of little Stevie.
If they convince Iran that it's curtains for the regime, Iran will, at minimum, try to destroy Israel completely. And if that happens, it's going to be a fucking shit show. Like nuclear weapons escalating, like China and the United States getting closer to war type shit show.
Yeah.
And that's the deterrent. The deterrent is we are going to level Tel Aviv.
They're not saying it right now. Iran is not, they're not coming out swinging in the negotiations. I think but it does seem like they've got we have a bit of an impasse coming up. I think that they resume on Thursday. So I guess we'll have more, we'll know more on Thursday. Speaking of Trump, he was really mad about something that happened this week. He, as the kids would say, he crashed out.
He crashed out.
He crashed out big time.
I heard about it a lot.
I saw a video. I didn't listen to the audio, and he was very sweaty. And this video where apparently he was crashing out because the U.S. Supreme Court struck down most of his tariffs. And then Wall Street was like, "This is great. I had a great day."
Yeah.
And he thinks that this is just outrageous. But apparently, because he enacted a lot of them using a law of reserve for national emergencies, they were like, "No, you cannot do that."
Yeah. All the reciprocal ones are gone. You know, I don't really care much about Trump being upset about it. The person that I'm really concerned about is John Barron.
Yeah, so there was this man with a very interesting and notable voice who called into
speech pattern
to C-SPAN to discuss this very important issue, and he was mad. Yeah. And he had a 32-second phone call to a call-in show. And our president also loves a call-in show. But this was John Barron from Virginia.
John in Virginia, Republican. Let's hear from you.
Well, this is John Barron. And this is the worst decision you ever have in your life, practically. Jack's going to agree with me, right? But this is a terrible decision. And you have Hakeem Jeffries, he's a dope. And you have Chuck Schumer, who can't cook a cheeseburger. Of course these people are happy. But true Americans will not be happy. And you have the woman earlier, I assume she's a woman, she's a Democrat, but she said she's disgraced. She's devastated.
All right,
by
John.
this.
He knew information of which I don't think anyone else was aware of, that Chuck Schumer apparently can't cook a cheeseburger.
I mean,
is that because Jews aren't allowed to have meat and dairy at the same time?
Oh, geez. John Barron is a goddamn anti-Semite. Or he's just aware of the cultural differences and understands that can make it harder to have certain skills. Yeah, so this poor woman who was hosting the C-SPAN call-in had to be like, "Thank you, sir. Moving on to the next caller."
I don't understand that. Don't you let him? Don't you go like, "That's the president holding his nose. We have to let him keep going, right?"
So,
why you rush him off? Let him go.
So he used a pseudonym that he has used before when dealing with reporters.
Yeah, which makes me feel like
it's just him.
It makes me feel like it's not as funny as it could be, because it was no attempt to actually hide the fact that it was him. No serious effort to hide the fact that it was him.
It wasn't a serious.
He just wanted to get on the air.
Well, and he did, but he's the president of the United States, so I think he can get on the air.
Yeah. Well, that's true. It is a very strange decision.
Let's call Barry.
I wonder what his media team did. He did what? They like knocked the door down and jump on. He's like sitting on the toilet. They're knocking the phone out of his hand.
They've already come out and said they're gonna all these tariffs that were rolled back. Oh, I don't know. Can you roll back a tariff like immediately? I mean,
no, they're still illegally collecting the tariff.
Right.
They haven't updated the software or whatever.
It's challenging to roll it back, but he's already saying he's just going to levy them a different way. So I don't know. Maybe this, stock market
have some very powerful tools.
Stock market might go down, might go up, might go down. I'm just glad I'm not like, who brought the lawsuit? Learning Resources Toys, which is a great small business. I mean, they're not that small. Family-owned toy company that makes really great toys for kids and mostly for teachers, but teacher toys, like countable things and like put the cubes together. We have some learning resources toys. So they're the ones that sued because if
they still wanted to import
if you have a
very cheap sweatshop labor.
if you have a business that's dealing with any sort of like supplies,
yeah,
how do you even account for what's going to happen next week? Anyways, those poor small businesses.
The tariff thing is really funny to me because the tariffs were a big part of like the protect the American worker part of the New Deal.
Sure.
And eliminating tariffs and like tripling down on free trade is the whole like Reagan movement. And I feel like
globalized capitalism.
And I feel like American liberals haven't like contended with this question. Well, like I think that the degree to which like the Trump derangement syndrome is the actual animating thing on the left and liberals is like way overstated. I think this stuff is grotesque and weird and there's nothing deranged about objecting to it. But in this particular case, I think that most people's opposition to tariffs has everything to do with who's proposing it.
Yeah, I don't think most people have thought a lot about what their trade policies are. Well, what they believe their trade preferences are. Mm-hmm. And sure, I think Bernie Sanders would probably have very similar ideas.
Yeah, exactly. He could say like, look, we're not going to let these companies, these billionaires, ship the jobs overseas so they can employ people in sweatshops,
right?
And bring in these products
and drive down the cost.
It's bad for the third world countries, bad for American workers,
right?
I mean, none of this is the way it's playing out in the United States. Like they're not protecting U.S. jobs, they're not protecting people in sweatshops. But you could easily see a lot of liberals getting on board with a sales pitch, which is like, this is how you punish the offshoring stuff.
Yep. So here's an interesting follow-up headline from last week. Teacher unions have pushed for an investigation into Apollo's Epstein ties. Apollo Global Management is like a investment firm.
Yeah.
They were founded by Leon Black and Marc Rowan. Leon Black was forced out a few years ago over Epstein stuff.
Yeah.
Marc Rowan is currently the CEO and is on the board of Peace.
Leon Black is the one who's like given him like a ton of shit and started his career. Right?
Yeah. So the teacher unions have some of their pensions tied up with Apollo Global Management. So they are making a stink about it because of the Epstein ties, which is like, I think, an interesting, and I mean, no one seems to give a shit about accountability when it comes to Epstein in the United States. So if the teacher unions want to take a swing at it, good for them.
Leon Black got fired, and that
was a few years ago. I'm talking about now.
Yeah, that's true.
Now we don't care.
No.
But the teacher unions, I think they should give it their best shot.
No,
they're trying to also draw greater scrutiny specifically to Marc Rowan.
Because he's in the files too, I'm guessing.
He's in the files too.
Yeah, that was a big surprise.
And I guess most of the AFTs, the American Federation of Teachers, have a lot of their pension fund investments tied up in these Apollo-owned portfolio companies.
Interesting. Good luck organized labor.
Good luck to the teacher unions there.
Yeah.
Okay. And finally, Kash Patel took a private jet to go celebrate in the locker room with the U.S. men's hockey team.
I've been led to believe that that's impossible because that's a slander on his name. And I doubt you have any kind of evidence, like a photo that he maybe posted himself.
We have the video of him chugging a beer and jumping up and down with the hockey players. Like they want, pretend, you are not welcome here. So, but I don't think he told his PR team he was doing it because they seemed to think he wasn't there.
But he would never waste taxpayer dollars.
He's like, what do you mean? Why do I have this job if I can't jet set to go party with hockey players who don't want me there?
Doesn't the FBI have work to do?
I mean, they're probably relieved when Kash Patel steps out.
Yeah, it's true. It's finally we can get back to our...
They certainly have not found Savannah Guthrie's mother. And I've decided to go purely conspiratorial, and I think it's Epstein related.
Really?
I do.
You went Epstein related?
Well, Savannah Guthrie was one of the few mainstream media people that's done public interviews with what's-her-face. And her husband, Michael Feldman, is connected to the whole world. He's connected to the Clintons. His business partners connected to Epstein. I think something happened to Savannah Guthrie's mother.
As a warning to Savannah Guthrie to keep her mouth shut?
Yes, that's my theory.
Oh my God.
That's my theory.
Oh my God. And also a warning to everyone else who knows anything about it.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's my theory.
That's...
I mean, it's completely kind of conspiratorial, and it's based off like one reel. I said like watched like half a reel where someone mentioned it, and I kind of got into it.
Look, I'm perfectly happy to believe this. So let's
I mean, where is this woman? Has anyone seen Savannah recently?
Yeah, where is this? Like, what's the story with this ransom situation? Isn't the idea that you just give him a couple $1 million and you get Granny back? Like, what happened?
I don't think there were real ransom asks, but they keep increasing the amount of money they claim they have for her. And then they had DNA on a glove, but it wasn't a good match. And also apparently it's being mismanaged. Surprise, surprise.
No kidding. Bumgango, or whatever his name is, who left the FBI to go back to being a podcaster because it was too much work for him. Can you imagine going on TV and being like, yeah, I believe in America first in this MAGA project and everything, but like, this is a job where you have to show up at 9 o'clock. You have to stay all day long. And I barely see my wife now.
But JP, you do know how much work it is to be a podcaster.
It is. It's a lot of work.
So, I mean, so he's
like,
he's doing a lot still. He
goes, hats off to Patel for doing this. Patel works really hard. I'm like, yeah, this is Patel working really hard.
I mean, I am sure.
Flying to Italy to party in the locker room.
I'm sure someone was like, Cash, I think you could just take your private jet and go party with those hockey players who I'm sure would love to see you.
Yeah. In fact, it's probably really important FBI work that someone is there keeping an eye on everyone, because
there could be something to go down with Canada.
I think Savannah Guthrie's mother was cited in Milan.
And there's been some violence between the United States and the Canadians.
Yeah, a lot of fighting.
I don't think the Canadians are that big a fan of us right now.
No, I don't think so.
I think they think we suck, and they probably are like, stop threatening us, bro.
It's really annoying to, like, you want to be excited about it, and then you go online and all the MAGA people are like, that's right, America beats Canada. You
know what?
Become part of America.
You can't get excited about U.S. hockey, as we know from the 80s. We know the story we know.
Yeah.
We know the story.
A fascist, it's a fascist Olympic team.
So
Pro-fascist.
we're anti-hockey. We can get a little bit excited about the figure skating.
Yeah, that's okay.
Because that girl, she's badass. Alyssa Liu is a badass. Her story's interesting. She's like got immigrant parents. She's pro-Palestine liberation. She has ADHD, I've understood. She loves the art and joy of things. She doesn't give a shit about what people think about her. She has a earring in her gums.
Okay.
I don't know. I think she's representative of the young generation of women.
Okay.
Who want to do whatever the fuck they want. And they're going to do it better than the men around them.
And she got a gold medal anyway.
And I'm sure if Kash Patel ended up in her locker room, she'd be like, get the fuck out of my locker room.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to give it to Alyssa Liu. She also was really gracious with the runner-ups. And she does seem to, I don't want to buy into the hype, but she does seem to be full of joy.
I think if people are going to have role models, if young women are going to have role models, this may as well be one.
And if we're going to live in a world where young women have role models,
as good one as,
I guess you could have this one. So those are the horrible headlines for the week. Enjoy the
weather event. If you were lucky enough to get on a weather event
that you might be having, the bomb cyclones and the blizzards and the puddles of snow in your front halls. And we will be back with the artifacts.
Probably Thursday.
All right. Done and dusted.
You mock the afflicted, wreak havoc on the weak. Your powers will fade as you grow old. 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 You're on the make and you don't do regret. You're always out for what you can get. You think like a snake and you ooze like a snail. Let the trail go cold as you swallow your tail. with your low rent skills and your heart of flint, telling your tales that are unfit to print. You're all weasel words, backed up by the boots, obsessed like the rest with the promise of loot. Your pies will fade as you grow old. 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 You demand of the sea, it obey your commands. You grab at the land with both of your hands. But candles will burn, and time will reveal all that you've done and the money you steal. The suffering you're causing gives you no pause for thought. You've got your claws in the dead summer's heart. Birds will return, as the birds always do. When they come home to roost, they'll feast on you. Your pies will fade as you grow old. Your pies will fade as you grow old. Your pies will fade as you grow old. Your pies will fade as you grow old.
I love you.
They do is, ouch. Most of what they do is, I do multiple problems at once. So most of what they do is like,
Oh my god.
I keep having a cramp. God damn it.
Have some water.